So you can see the eye, the mouth.
Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kother. I am going to be sharing how I got pregnant naturally with PCOS, and I'm also going to share some wellness tips that I've done over the last few years that I wish I had started sooner. So how did it all start? A few years ago, I was going through a divorce and I thought that being a mom was just never going to happen for me. I remember feeling like it was very bittersweet. I was super sad that I was going through a breakup, but I was also very excited for the future. I remember joking with my family, like, I'm gonna be the next Elizabeth Taylor and I'm gonna get married 7 times. Or did she get married 6 times? I don't remember. But at that point, I was struggling with infertility for 20 months and I thought, you know, I just don't think I'm gonna become a mom, and I got to a place of acceptance. I'm a very optimistic person, so I looked at it as, you know, just this is gonna be my life and maybe I'll adopt one day. I was a teacher at the time, so I was like, my students will be my little kiddos. And yeah, I just kind of moved on with my life. A few weeks later, I started to feel very sick and I started having lots of cramping that lasted for about 10 days. And I was like, I think my period is coming. I don't know what's going on with my body. I just felt very sick and nauseous. There were certain foods that I just didn't like the smell of. This is TMI, but when I would hug someone, I would feel like my boobs were super sensitive, and I was like, oh my god, I can't hug anyone, like this hurts so bad. And it just kept going, and I was like, what is going on with my body? Is it because I'm going through a breakup? Like, I don't know. I had a little bit of spotting and I was just like waiting for my period, and then one day I was like, I just need to talk to my doctor. So I reached out to my doctor and she suggested that we do blood work and also do a pregnancy test, and I was like, okay, you can do that, but I don't think I'm pregnant. I had done so many pregnancy tests before this. I was like, I literally gave up. I was like, I don't think it's gonna happen. I was like, yeah, no. I went in, did some blood work, and usually I get a message from my doctor if things are good, like, oh, all your labs are fine, you're good. But then 2 hours later, I got a phone call from my doctor and I was like, oh my god, something is not good. And I picked up. She was like, you're pregnant. And I was like, what? And I immediately started crying. She was crying with me on the phone. I couldn't believe it. I like grabbed one of my pregnancy tests and tried it out and immediately said it was pregnant. It was like the first one that ever said pregnant, and I just couldn't believe it. It was such a shock. I was so happy, and even though I was in a weird situation, it brought me so much joy. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. She is 18 months now. She's literally the cutest little thing. And I think often, like, how many women are told that like you can't get pregnant naturally, like you have to do IVF and all these things, and I was there. I know what it feels like. I know it's frustrating, it's confusing, it's overwhelming with all the information that's out there, and it can lead to a lot of stress too. I'm here to share what had worked for me. PCOS is on a spectrum though, so keep that in mind when you're watching this video. You know, what's working for me might not work for you, but I try to keep it pretty general. Don't look at this as a negative thing. This is such a beautiful opportunity for you to get to know your body, to heal your body, and eventually not only get pregnant, but also to have a healthy pregnancy, delivery, postpartum, and motherhood. Of course, some things are out of our control, but why not do your part? So then when baby does come around, you'll be prepared. So yeah, take advantage of this time that you have to really connect to yourself and your body. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing that I want to talk about is food. Okay, when I tell you that when I changed my food, it like drastically changed my mental health, my energy levels. I think food is medicine. I think it's such a great way to help heal your body, especially when you're so depleted from minerals or, you know, lack of nutrition from foods that you're eating. The first thing I did was I really cut back on processed foods and focused on whole foods, organic foods. I was eating grass-fed meat, organic pasteurized eggs. I was eating vegetables and fruits, and my plate pretty much looked like healthy fats, carbs, and protein. I was not afraid of carbs. I ate a ton of carbs at that time. I also stopped going out to eat and I started cooking more at home. I tried to cook with coconut oil, grass-fed butter, ghee, and avocado oil. Cut out all seed oils. They're super inflammatory and highly processed, so I cut those out. I don't use like canola oil or anything like that. I saw a huge difference in like inflammation in my body. I started eating breakfast. I used to skip breakfast and now it's like my favorite meal, but I tried to eat a high protein breakfast. Yeah, that really helped with stabilizing my blood sugar, because most women with PCOS have insulin resistance. I definitely have it, so I have to be very aware about my blood sugar. High insulin levels can cause your ovaries to produce more testosterone. Okay, there's this girl on Instagram, Glucose Goddess. I just recently read her book. Oh my god, the way she explains things is so easy to digest. She has these wonderful graphics on her Instagram. I highly recommend if you're struggling with insulin resistance. Another thing I did is I cut out gluten, dairy, and caffeine. I was pretty strict before I got pregnant. I did eat a little bit of dairy when I was pregnant, but before that I was very strict. It's really important to stay away from Teflon because it is a man-made chemical that will impact your hormones. It contains chemicals that could lead into your food. I switched all my pots and pans, got rid of all my plastic Tupperware, and just really went through the product that I have in my kitchen and how I was storing my food, cooking my food, which brings me to my next point. So number 2 is ditch all the toxins in your home. This was, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little obsessed with this at the beginning. It was a little unhealthy. Let me get you the exact definition of xenoestrogen before I get into all the plastics and stuff, because I don't want to get this wrong. So xenoestrogen are a subcategory of endocrine disruptor group that specifically have estrogen-like effects. So basically you need a good balance of estrogen and progesterone to not only get pregnant, but you also need progesterone and a good balance of both of those to also keep your pregnancy. If you have so much exposure to xenoestrogen and chemicals, this will not only affect all of your hormones, but you become estrogen dominant, and it's really important that you have enough progesterone to get pregnant. I personally lacked in progesterone, and I'll share later more about the kind of herbs and stuff that helped me with the low progesterone, and I did blood work to test that, but super important to eliminate these toxins in your home. I switched to glass containers, ceramic pots and pans. I switched toothpaste, detergent, deodorant, shampoo. I removed all scent in my home. I use a diffuser now. I actually have one here, and I basically just put essential oils in it and diffuse it in my room instead of using those scented things. I don't even know what they're called, but like, oh my god, if I smell it now, I can't be in the room. But I personally use like an oil. Let me go get it real quick. This was actually gifted to me from one of my friends, but it's a non-alcoholic, non-toxic oil, and I just put like a little bit on my wrist and then on my neck. I completely removed all perfume scents in my home, and yeah, lotion, like literally everything. Oh, and makeup. If you've been exposed to all these chemicals and xenoestrogen for a long period of time, this does not only lead to infertility, but it can lead to early onset puberty and even miscarriage. So really, really important to pay attention to the toxins in your home. There is a specific website that I used to find clean products at the beginning. Now I'm pretty comfortable with what I have, so I just repurchase, but I used a specific website, and They also have an app. Let me get it. Yeah, it is EWG, which is Environmental Working Group. The next one is body movement. So when I was trying to get pregnant, I tried to walk, like a really long walk. I tried to do low impact like workouts. So I did like yoga, high intensity, crazy workouts. Your cortisol levels are going to go up, and this will impact your hormones. And if you're already struggling with your hormones, if you're under eating, if you have so many toxins in your home, your body's already under so much stress. So when you're going to the gym or like doing a crazy HIIT workout, your hormones are just gonna get even worse. So some women do strength training, which if you feel like your stress levels and your cortisol level is being controlled and you're like doing really well with that, if you're someone who's not really struggling with stress, then you could do it. And like I said, PCOS is on a spectrum, so it's going to affect everybody differently. It really depends on your goal when it comes to fitness. If you're trying to conceive a baby, it's best that you try to keep your cortisol levels down. But if you're trying to lose weight and you don't care about your hormones and you're like, I just want a nice body, then go ahead and do that. Really, to each their own. But for me personally, I've learned that it does impact my hormones, and yeah, it's something I just learned recently. But thinking back when I was trying to conceive, me and my ex-husband, we just did a lot of walking where we lived, and we did that daily after dinner. So I think it was just really helping with bringing the stress level down. The next one is sleep. I was getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Personally, if I'm on my phone or like on screen for too long before bed, I really struggle to sleep. So for me, I try to keep my phone away from my bed, just not grab it first thing in the morning and before to sleep. And meditation helps a lot for me. If you're like, oh, I can sleep only 4 to 5 hours or 6 hours a day, then you're probably running on cortisol, and that's not good. Once you try to examine and like figure out what works for you, you'll do it. So just try to figure out what are things that you do to help you sleep. But like, I know some people who sleep really well when they work out, or like they do a certain amount of steps a day. So figure out like what will help you sleep better, because you need to rest to bring those stress levels down. So crucial. When I got pregnant, I was in the middle of summer break, so I was not teaching, and so I was resting a lot and just like catching up on so much sleep, and I think that it really helped. Next thing I'm going to talk about is supplements, but let me go grab them real quick. So really important to take a prenatal multivitamin. I'm taking the Mega Food one, but yeah, this is the one I'm taking. And then I do take ashwagandha on a daily basis. I do this now as well, but I was taking it when I was trying to conceive. It really helps with balancing energy and stress, so highly recommend. Vitex has been the herb that really helped me with ovulation. I swear I took this for 60 days. It says take twice. It says take 2 pills a day, but I only took 1 a day, and I did it for 60 days, which is 2 months, and I start to see my cycles regulate, and then I got pregnant in the 3rd month. So I took this for 2 months and then I stopped, and then the 3rd month I got pregnant. So, and I'm not the only one. Like, if you read the comments, people are saying like it helps so much with their PCOS, especially if you don't have a period and you're not ovulating. Like this is it. My sister was telling me that Yas the Spaz also used Vitex to get pregnant. She made a YouTube video. I'll link it down below if you wanted to watch it, to just kind of get like someone else's like opinion or second opinion on Vitex and their experience with it. I also take a magnesium and some other minerals that I take. That's like more of the things that I do now. I wasn't taking it when I was trying to conceive. Yeah, so herbs are super powerful. I still take herbs, but I do acupuncture now. I think combining the herbs and acupuncture together has been really helpful, which brings me to my next point. Body work. This is something that I learned, I would say, over the last year. I've just been incorporating a lot of body work, and it all started when I got into my accident and I was like, I really need to get a massage and stuff like that. And I got a massage and I was just crying so much, and I didn't realize emotional trauma I was carrying on my body. So massage was a really good release. Acupuncture has been really helpful with like removing cysts from your ovaries. Like I could feel them burst. It's crazy. Yeah, I wish I did body work sooner, and that's what I'm sharing in the video. Now that I've been doing it, I see like even more results with my cycles, and you know, your emotional health and the physical health of your body is super important, something to pay attention to as well. Last point that I have is stress management, and the reason why I kept it last is because you can be doing all the right things, you could be doing everything that I mentioned in this video, and if your stress levels are super high, it will just honestly throw off your whole body. Really trying to figure out like what works for you. Like I had to go through a bunch of things to figure out like what would help my stress. Like some people exercise. I know for me, like I love to walk when I'm stressed, helps a lot. Also just like setting boundaries with others, saying no, it will create more stress if you're like people pleasing and stuff like that. I personally, I'm a people pleaser, and so for me to set those boundaries are crucial. And so saying no and not overcommitting and saying like, you know, that's not something I want to do or whatever, just really important to express that. I journal daily. I try to have some form of gratitude by praying or journaling. I just really try to put a lot of time in the morning. It really sets the tone for my day when I start with journaling and being grateful for what I have instead of looking at what I don't have. I think we live in a culture also where we're online and seeing other people's lives, and we compare ourselves a lot. So really focusing on like what you have and not like what you don't have. Self-care, just really taking the time to do that for you, whatever that means. Personally, it's for me, self-care would be to spend time alone and be in nature, or to read a book and be around people who can uplift you, have fun. Do you do things that you enjoy? Do you have any hobbies? In this whole video sharing about how to get pregnant naturally, like try to enjoy the moment, try to enjoy the process. It is a journey, hang in there. If you start implementing these things that I mentioned in the video over time, it will be so helpful for you. And I'm not perfect. I sometimes fall off my routine, and sometimes things happen, life happens, and sometimes some things are out of our control, but focusing on what you can control will do you good. The things that I was doing before I got pregnant, I did during my pregnancy, and then I'm doing it now as a mom, and I'm able to make certain meals for my daughter. And so I'm very grateful for that moment, for all the information that I learned, because I'm able to implement them now in my life. So I hope that this video was helpful. If you want to see like what I eat in a day, or like what my life looks like as a working single mom, go ahead and comment down below. I would love to make another video. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.